Hey guys, welcome back to Saving Your Marriage Before It Starts, a book that we've been reading together. And today we're going to be looking at myth number 3. Everything bad in my life will disappear. This is number 3 myth, and then here it goes. And it goes, this myth has been handed down through countless generations. This is where the people that get married for money get disappointed. And its widespread appeal is epitomized in such storybook legends as Cinderella. Remember Cinderella? In this story, a poor stepdaughter who toils as a servant for her wicked step family is rescued by a handsome and gallant, charming prince. They fall in love and live happily ever after. No matter that Cinderella has been socialized to feel at home among the kitchen ashes and would have no idea how to behave in the pomp and circumstance of the royal court. They're trying to say that in as much as happily ever after is not real, because then we did not see behind the scenes, that we did not, after the wedding, we didn't see how Cinderella was supposedly shifted her identity as a servant, as a cleaner, to now a high profile, high class royal girl, right? We didn't see that struggle, we didn't see that part. No matter that Prince Charming had grown up in an entirely different culture and acquired its education, tastes, and manners, no matter that the two of them knew nothing about each other's attitude towards the role of wife and husband, all they have in common is a glass slippers and a foot that fits it. Of course, love doesn't work that way. It is just a child's fable, that's what you say. That's true, yes it is, but deep down, we long for a Prince Charming or Cinderella to right the wrongs and make everything bad go away. Many people marry to avoid or escape unpleasantness. But no matter how glorious the institution of marriage, it is not a substitute for a difficult work of inner spiritual healing. Emphasis. Marriage does not erase personal pain or eliminate loneliness. Some people will not like to hear that. Why? Because people get married primarily to further their own well-being, not to become well. You need to already be well, so in marriage you now further it. Not to take care of their partner's needs. Okay, the bad traits and feelings you carried around before you were married remains with you as you leave the wedding chapel. A marriage certificate is not a magical glass slipper. Marriage is, in actual fact, just a way of living. Before marriage, we don't expect life to be all sunshine and roses, but we seem to expect life after marriage to be that way. Psychiatrist John Levy, who counsels many married couples, writes that people who have found everything disappointing are surprised and pained when marriage proves no exception. Most of the complaints about matrimony arises not because it is worse than the rest of life, but because it is not incomparably better. Okay, poor marriage. Everybody is running to it to solve their problem, right? Getting married cannot instantly cure all your ills, but marriage can become a powerful healing agent over time. If you are patient, marriage can help you overcome even some of the toughest of tribulations. When 3 Colorado psychologists ran a marriage survey in the Rocky Mountain News, they were surprised by the number of people who had endured traumatic childhoods and healed themselves through good marriages. Okay, as one of the researchers explained it, good marriages overcome things we tend to think of as irretrievable losses or irreconcilable tragedies. In other words, there has been a major shift in focus from marriage therapy to marriage as therapy. There's this joke I saw one time where they said if somebody is behaving somehow, like maybe a son is not responsible and is reckless and all of that, you now hear African parents saying, "Get him a wife, get him a wife. He will calm down, or you settle him down." You are trying to put that girl, you want to run the girl mad. Now the poor girl has to go through, has to become a psychologist and a psychiatrist at the same time. All right. Marriage is not a therapy. That's the point. Marriage is not a therapy. All of us, at least unconsciously, marry in the hope of healing our wounds. Even if we do not have a traumatic background, we still have hurts and unfulfilled needs that we carry inside. We all suffer from feelings of self-doubt, unworthiness, and inadequacy. No matter how nurturing our parents were, we never received enough attention and love. So in marriage, we look to our spouse to convince us that we are worthwhile and to heal our infirmities. In Getting the Love You Want, pastoral psychotherapist Havel Hendricks explains that a healthy marriage becomes a place to wrap up unfinished business from childhood. A healthy marriage emphasis. The healing process begins gradually by uncovering and acknowledging our unresolved childhood issues. The healing continues through the years as we allow our spouses to love us and as we learn how to love them. Prince Charles and Lady Diana most certainly had unmet hopes in their storybook marriage. Even though they had one of the most celebrated weddings of the century, few could have imagined the painful outcome years later. Robert Runcie, Archbishop of Canterbury, however, probably did. He gave a marvelous homily at their wedding. In it, he said, "Here is the stuff of which fairy tales are made, the prince and the princess on their wedding day. But fairy tales usually end at this point with the simple phrase, they lived happily ever after." This may be because fairy tales regard marriage as an anticlimax after the romance of courtship. Okay, this is not the Christian view. Our faith sees the wedding day not as a place of arrival, but the place where the adventure begins. Too bad the royal couples didn't act on Runcie's message. Too bad we also settle for myths and fairy tales when we could be living a real life adventure. Marriage is not a cure-all for problems, but it can, with time.